95 beliefs. He takes them to the church, which was the main church of the Roman Catholic. It is called the Wittenberg Castle Church, and he nails the 95 doctrines on the door. And people come reading, and they start reading, oh, there is this, there is this. They start questioning, and this formed the movement which became the Lutheranism. And when he comes out of the Roman Catholic Church, I am sure even now we see people who say, I came across new light. The new light that is shown on you, then you suddenly say, I am going to do this. And it's still happening today. Someone reads the Bible, he says, God said, Moses, remove your shoes. Then they go and they start saying, when we enter our church, we remove our shoes, we put them outside. And they call that, it's new light to them. This is what they have understood. He reads the Bible and says, we have found this, and they go with it. So the new light that came to Martin Luther was just that he believed that justification was by faith alone. And he emphasized salvation through grace than works. This is what formed the basis of the movement that moved away from the Roman Catholic and became the Lutheran Church. Their current focus, the same way as us, was that we are going to follow Scripture, that it must be by Scripture. So his focus and the focus of those who were moving with him was on the Scripture. Then they also believed in baptism and Holy Communion. So what are the similarities of Lutheranism with the SDA Church that we have? They believe that the Scripture is important. Everything that we do must be according to Scripture. So I had already spoken about most of these things. So let me just, for the sake of time, let me not repeat. I go to where we are. So what was important to Martin Luther was the issue of Scripture, that we have to go by Scripture, not follow what the Roman Catholic is saying, because by then, the Roman Catholic itself was saying the Bible cannot be given to the common man because you cannot understand what is written in it. So when people suddenly had that access to the Bible, they started reading it, and they realized that the issue of life after death, that people just pass from one form to the other. You are not actually dead, but you are just passing on, not passing away, but passing on. They realized this was not true. Also salvation, that salvation was by works. They also saw that that was not according to Scripture. Then the major differences were on the issue of the Sabbath, because the Lutheran Church does not keep the Sabbath the way the Adventists do. And also they stuck to some of the traditions of old, refusing to go on with modernism. Now, the second church is the Anabaptists. The Anabaptists were founded by quite a number of people. As you can see, they are written there. We have Conrad Grebel, Felix Manz, Menno Simons, Jacob Amann, who formed what was now called the Amish. And Menno Simons had the group which was called the Mennonites. The key light that they came up with, remember the Roman Catholic, they baptized children. But these, they came and said, there's no way we can be baptizing children. We better go to baptism of adults. So this was their new light, which forced them to move to the issue of baptizing adults. They also saw that the Roman Catholic and the state were one. They were not separated. They wanted to move away from the state. So they separated the church from the state, because the Roman Catholic and the papacy and the Roman Empire were just together. They also believed in communal lifestyle and pacifism. This is the concept where they wanted a low life, a life that is away from the glamours of this world. So the current features of this church, the Anabaptists, they believe in faith plus works. They also think that the New Testament is superior over the Old Testament. They also believe in strict separation from the state, like I said, and they believe that as a Christian, you must not hold political office, and they say you must avoid politics at all costs. They also, some of these members, they abstain from technology to the extent that some of them, this electricity is too much technology to be followed. So the similarity again here, they also believe in scripture, that it has to, whatever we do, it has to be scripture, word upon word. But now they do not have a specific Sabbath observance tradition. They don't believe, or they don't keep the Sabbath the same way as the Adventists. The third church will be the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church, even today, you can see that the Anglican Church is not so much different from the Roman Catholic Church. Why the Anglican Church separated from the Roman Catholic? It was just a disagreement, a general disagreement between the King of England, who was King Henry VIII, and the Pope. Just that disagreement led to that separation, the English moving on to the Anglican Church and the Roman Catholic remaining. So they rejected, or they found no reason why they should obey the papas, leading to the establishment of what they called a national church. So even today, the Anglican Church is in between. Most of the things are just Roman Catholic Church. They also have a book which they call the Book of Common Prayer, which is kind of structured worship for the church. And even prayers are in that book. I know some, you have been an Anglican and you're well aware of this. Let me rush. The importance, the similarity to the SDA is that they believe in scripture. The difference is the way of worship and the sacraments that they believe in. For example, the issue of baptism, the issue of Holy Communion is a little bit different from what we believe in. Two more churches, then I give to patients. Then the next church is the church which is called the Reformed Church, which came around the year in the 16th century, but was formalized around 1536. And there are two guys who were very much active in the Reformation, one of them being Ulrich Zwingli and the other John Calvin. These are common names which are very known in the Reformation. The new light that they had was that the sovereignty of God, they believed in the sovereignty of God, but there is an aspect that they also believed in, which is predestination, that God has destined people for heaven. If you are meant for heaven, you have been meant for heaven. If you have not been meant for heaven, don't worry. That's not your issue. Just leave it like that. You are not part of those who are chosen. So you will see that the major differences with the SDA Church is that us, we do not believe in predestination. They also believed that grace, when God extends grace to you, it is irresistible, in the sense that whether you like it or not, if God says this is it, you have no choice, there's nothing, you just have to conform. They also believed in a believer's response of faith and good works. So your works were very much important. In as much as their faith was important, your works also counted. Now, the last church that I'm going to talk about before Patience comes is the Presbyterian Church. The Presbyterian Church, coming around the year 1560, you see most of the activities which were happening in the 16th century. And who is the founder of this church? The founder of this church was John Knox. He also said the new light that came to him was that it's all about Scripture. Remember, the Roman Catholic believed some other things which were outside Scripture. So he came up with a governance whereby elders were in charge. He rejected the use of the bishops, which were in the Roman Catholic, and he believed in the Calvinist doctrine. John Calvin, his doctrine, he believed in predestination, he believed in irresistible grace, and they continued with this. The current features of this church, these guys, they believe in long prayers, that if you do a short prayer, you have not done justice. So the prayer has to be very long. They believed in community-based decision-making. They also brought the issue of congregational voting as opposed to the Roman Catholic Church, which had its own hierarchy. So they have two kinds of elders, the ruling elders for administration and the other elders who are responsible for teaching. They practice both infant and adult baptism. They also believe in predestination the same way John Calvin did. They put so much emphasis on the Scripture in as much as some of the things which are in the Scripture, they look aside. Patience, you can come forward as we move to the sixth church. The difference, they do not recognize investigative judgment, and also they don't believe in the prophetic ministry of Ellen G. White. So those are some of the churches that broke away from mainstream Roman Catholic and became Protestant. And let me just end by saying they were protesting to say, we want Scripture. We also want salvation by grace and also by faith. I leave this to Patience to proceed. You're going to use this?
Okay, we are going to go to the next one, which is the sixth one, and that is the Congregationalism or the Independence. And under this specific church, it was founded in the year 1580s, and its prominence was in the year 1620 to the year 1630. The founders of the Congregationalism were Robert Brown, Pilgrims, and we also have William Bradford, who was among the founders. Now, for the Congregationalism, the new light among these people was that there was local autonomy of congregations. That was the emphasis on personal faith. And then the current features of this church is the departure from hierarchy. They are self-governing congregations and community-focused worship, and their worship varies from different churches. So basically, in this specific church, congregationalism, just from the name congregationalism, they don't have like an hierarchy of leaders. The church is self-governed by the people who are just there. The similarities that we have with the SDA church is that their local church government governance and the role of the congregation when it comes to decision making. The differences that we have, the differences between the congregationalism and the